Well, hello and welcome back to the Tao Manifesting Tarot, the most unusual tarot reading anywhere at all, because we focus on your ability to manifest, we focus on reality, we focus on the current geopolitics of the world. We don't have any rainbows, no unicorns. We focus on the human kryptonite, manifesting, creating pictures in your own imagination. That's what's important, not from outside devices, not a desktop, laptop, smartphone, certainly not artificial intelligence, but from within yourself, your imagination. That kryptonite is powerful juju. We'll be talking about that in a minute. I just want to take the opportunity to remind you what I have done is tried to up my game in terms of communicating with you. I'm not really good at it. I don't have the time, don't have whatever it takes. So what I've done is I've created a separate email, tao-tarot@proton.me, tao-tarot@proton.me, just what you see on the screen. And you can contact me, and I will do my very best to stay up on top of communicating with you. It may not be much more than a yes or a no or whatever. Maybe a little bit more than that. We can maybe get into a discussion. Don't know, but I'd like to hear from you. It's very important to stay connected. So one email. This is it. tao-tarot@proton.me. Many, many thanks. So let's get to it. Tao Manifesting Tarot reading for today is round and round. That's the basic idea. That's the basic frequency. What it means is life, a not so merry-go-round. I don't know if they still have them. You know, those things that go round and round, and you climb on board a horse or whatever the hell it is, you go round and round. I don't think they probably have those anymore, but they used to. And you're familiar with the idea of a merry-go-round. Well, that's what life is, but it's not so very merry. Hasn't been so very merry for a long, long time. So what I'm doing here with the Tao Manifesting Tarot is focusing on this energy of going round and round and going nowhere at all. I mean, a lot of action, a lot of activity, a lot of movement, and for what? So, Tao Tarot Manifesting. The reading is unusual. I use 3 cards, and I also add in astrology and numerology. I've done tarot for 20 years, found out it doesn't predict anything. That's not its job. Its job is to be able to discover your potential. The 3 cards that I use together create a storyline. That creates a frequency. You relate to that frequency. It's different for everybody because we're in different places in our lives, in our existence. But that's what I do. Tarot. 20 years of experience. I understand now it is the science of your potential. For 50 years, I've done astrology. For 50 years, I've done numerology. Those are the science of cycles within cycles within cycles. And people love to get on top of this astrology, numerology stuff. Devil's work at this. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. You know when the next new moon is coming up. You know when the next full moon is coming up. You know when it's going to be fall or spring, depending on where you are in the world. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, fall is about a month away. In Australia, it's probably a month away to go to spring. You know when the holiday season gets here. Wait, what is that, devil's work, or is it just knowing cycles? That's the point. So I take the numerology and astrology and I say, okay, here's where we find ourselves energetically. How do I know? Because I will tie in the astrology. For example, 250 years ago, Uranus, Pluto were in certain positions. That's when we did our revolution and got the Declaration of Independence. 250 years later, because it takes 250 years for Pluto to go in a complete circle, Uranus was probably 4 or 5 times. They're back in the same spot they were a year ago. Take a look what's going on, not just in America, but the world. Revolution, evolution, just like 1776 all over again, but different. That's my point. So we have the frequency, we have your potential in the tarot card reading. There's the energy. Now, how do you use it? Well, that's where the numerology and astrology comes in. You kind of figure things out a little bit and go, okay, I see how things are a little the same, a little different. This gives me a chance to maneuver. And stuff doesn't blind blindside you as much. It's not a surprise. It doesn't get to be too high or too low. You go, oh, okay, Revolution 1776, we're in the same spot now. Feeling very much like we did in 1776. 1776 was a mess. It was like making sausage. The end result was fine, but the process, it was tough. And it took us a while to figure it out, and we still are in that position. But at least you're familiar with the energy from a historical. Plus, it teaches you a little history as well, which is not a bad thing, actually, when you get right down to it. Knowing a little history is a good thing. So, with that in mind, how about if we jump into the astrology? This is called Astrologic. Over the past few weeks, I've been doing the Conquest of America. That's the theme, the Conquest of America. Because America, right from the get-go, was a prize for the bankers. Back around, somewhere in the early 1500s, the Rothschilds and the rich helped out the King of England. He wanted to go to war, which they always want to do, and he says, hey, I need money. They said, yeah, okay, we'll make the deal. However, we want to start up something called the Bank of England. You don't have a part of it. Yes, you can buy stock, you can buy shares, but we'll run it. It's ours. But it's going to sound different. But that's our bank, the Bank of England. Well, once they got that established, they began to control things in Britain. And of course, with a large number of the colonists being British, English, that came across the water. And that's what got the colonists to finally bitch and moan and say, get the hell out of here. Taxation without representation. All you're doing is trying to control, which was the plan. Well, no sooner do the colonies get their independence than those same bankers say, hey, well, let's start up the first bank of the United States. Let's start up Wall Street. They wanted to control the finances. And you go, no, they didn't do that. Yeah, they did. 1803, Meyer Rothschild, the head of the Rothschild Empire, the man who essentially called the shots for the Bank of England, and at that point, the First National Bank of the United States, Meyer Rothschild said, you can do what you want with the government. Let me control the economy. They were after that. Well, there were all kinds of problems that happened after that because there were a lot of people in the colonies who gained their independence, were fighting for their independence, and they said, no. We're not going to let some bankers from England tell us how to run our country. And so we're in the stage right now where 1791, they started up the first bank of the United States. Wall Street came a few years later. They had that lock on our economy. But when they signed up for the first bank of the United States, it was a 20-year run. 1811, that ended. And that's when things get sticky, and we'll be picking that up and following it through because at this point, the bankers are really screaming bloody murder. They're not getting what they want. That's total control of the colonies. So again, the idea of the day today, huh? Round and round, the not so merry go round. The more things change, the more they stay the same. That's why I do the tarot and the numerology and astrology. Let's set the table as well as give you the dinner, huh? So here we go to 1820. Two important things happened that year, the Missouri Compromise and the Monroe Doctrine. Both had strong business banking applications. Missouri Compromise, states started to talk about keeping or getting rid of slaves or slavery. That kind of sets up the Civil War. But this is in 1820 where they come to the Missouri Compromise and say, let's talk about it. Also, the Monroe Doctrine, named after James Monroe. He says the Western Hemisphere, off limits. We in the United States are in the Western Hemisphere. We're going to run the Western Hemisphere. Well, the bankers who make money off of war didn't like that idea. They were being left out. So those two things, the Missouri Compromise and Monroe Doctrine, begin to set us in motion with banks that are already unhappy about the deal that they're getting here in the colonies. And it just gets more interesting and more interesting from there. But that's 1820. How about if we take a look at the meme for today? Here's the moron acting up again. Jesus. Bill Gates says he's come up with a new butter. It's made in a laboratory. Oh, what a surprise. He makes it from CO2, and he says it tastes just like butter. I'm not going to say anything. It's pointless. It's stupid. He's just proving that he's an absolute psychopath. Let's go to the missing link for today. I voted for Trump because there was nothing in the Democratic side that I had any faith or trust in at all. It wasn't that I was a Trump person. I was a MAGA person, still am. I want to make America great again. Honest, give us integrity. Have us go back to the original values found in our Declaration of Independence and Constitution. But he keeps doing stuff that just keeps pushing me away. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hopeful, but I don't have faith. Anyway, the story goes, just kind of scratching my head, that one of the richest CEOs in the world went to the White House to deliver the president a literal piece of gold in exchange for an exemption to the president's tariff. And they did it live on TV. That's the part that has me guessing. Okay? On one hand, it's embarrassing to see him do that. On the other hand, they got him on video. Who knows how they may use that down the road. Again, I'm sitting on the fence with Trump. Again, I have hope. I really don't have faith. So let's move to the tarot. Let's see the energy in this reading, round and round, the merry-go-round or not-so-merry-go-round. How about this? 9 of Cups. Talks about fulfillment, seeing the goal. You're not there yet. But cups are emotional attachments. It's not just romance. It's about things that we are emotionally connected to. And so the 9 of Cups says, I see better. I can see it in my mind. I can feel it in my spirit. I'm not there, but I can imagine it. That's a pretty good start. Next card is the 4 of Pentacles. To be able to get to his heart's desire, he needs to have a solid pentacle system, a value system. That's, you get all these tarot readers that go, well, Pentacles talk about money. That's capitalism crazy. It's not what we're talking about. It's talking about changing our value system. Instead of more houses, bigger cars, more shoes, flashy baubles, how about love, friendship, joy, happiness, health? How about peace in your life? Would that be? So be able to see what you would like to have in your future in terms of connecting to your heart, your spirit, you got to develop a good value system. And that's what we need to work on. We do not have that right now. There's a little lip service, but not much. And so now we go to the final card, 8 of Wands. Wands talks about action, talks about movement, talks about positivity, gratitude, joy, energy. There's a lot of energy. So for you to find that energizing spirit, you got to be able to vision, where do you want to go? Where do you want that emotional, spiritual connection? Get clear on that. Then make a value system to help you get there. You make that connection between the 9 of Cups and 4 of Pentacles, like the 8 of Wands, man, it's going to come at you. Something's coming. It's a question of what you set yourself up for. You are choosing. You are in power. You are the one who manifests. Create the good stuff. Not the shallow stuff, the good stuff. And get ready. We're done for today. Thanks so much for stopping by. I always love it when we have a chance to get together. Hope we can do it again tomorrow. But between now and then, please like and subscribe. Very, very important these days to like and subscribe. It's the only tool. It may be a kryptonite against the people who run the internet. So like and subscribe. Between now and the next time you and I get together and do tarot, hopefully tomorrow, peace and blessings.